Hello everyone. So today's video is going to be a discussion about Shiva Trilogy by Amish Tripathi and why I think that it is bad. So basically I used to highly admire Amish's works back in the time when I was in my high school, but realized how bad they were during my recent reread attempt which I just could not finish. So before getting to it, let me tell you how I judge a book. So there are 4 factors that I consider for this. The first is the characters, the second is world building, third is plot, and fourth is the writing style. So depending on these 4 factors, I decide whether a book is good or bad for me. So let's begin. First, the characters. To put it in one word, the characters in this book are bad. Not a single character that I can remember of has an arc to him or her. So basically there is no transformation of any character throughout the book. So for example, Shiva in the first book, that is Immortal of Meluha, is the same as the Shiva that we see in the Oath of Vayuputras. Similarly, Sati in the first book is the same as she is in the last book. So basically there is no development. It seems to me that there has been no effect on the characters whatsoever of the events that they have been through. And these are the 2 main characters that we are talking about. So just imagine how bad the other characters are. Not a single character in this book has depth to it, and none of them are memorable. Not even a single. Due to such bad characters, we just cannot really care for them, care for their decisions, thus making the reader care less for the story overall and make them detached from the story. So moving on, the second thing here is the world building. So basically the setting of this book is in ancient India, and the author just assumes that we know how ancient India was and makes no attempt to develop the world. So let's say if a person from the US picks this book up, he or she is going to have no idea about the world. The world that is created in these books is just shallow. The books do describe some geography and locations of places, but just having a map of where places are and cities are does not make a good world, according to me. And due to this, the reading experience is just bad. The third thing is the plot. Now I'll be honest, the plot is the least worst thing in this book. I won't say that it is something out of the ordinary, but yeah, it's not bad. What the author has basically done is, he has taken the mythology and altered it according to him. Now that's not a bad thing to do if it is done correctly. And so basically I don't have a whole lot to say about the plot. So let's move to the writing style. This part is the worst thing about these books. Shiva Trilogy is probably the worst books that I have read in terms of the writing. The language that the author uses is oversimplistic and at times can feel childish. Now I don't think that for a book to be good, it needs a flowery and poetic language, but it needs to be done right. To give you an example, let's take Arvind Adiga, the author of The White Tiger. So basically his prose is not what one would call poetic. It is actually very raw, and that works for his books perfectly. That's because he knows what kind of language he wants to use in his books. And Amish here is completely clueless. The next point is, Amish's narrative, his writing style, relies heavily on repetition of things. The author tends to repeat things so many times that it becomes hard to tolerate. It almost feels like an insult that he has no trust in his readers to remember things, and he repeats the most unimportant things. That is just weird. So in my opinion, the writing is what is the worst thing about these books. So those were my thoughts about this trilogy. I still can't understand why these books are so highly celebrated in India, because there are so many good books out there which are way better than these. For example, try books by Joe Abercrombie, J.R.R. Tolkien, Brandon Sanderson. There is a long list. Try those and then you'll see why I feel so. So that's it guys, those were my opinions on this trilogy. I hope you liked the video. Do let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments if you agree or disagree to me. And as always, happy reading.